Hey everyone, welcome back to It's Okay Habibi. This episode's got a little bit of everything. Amel and I are looking back on how far we've come and chatting about the whole let them mindset. Like what happens when you just let people be who they are and stop trying to control the outcome. We're also talking about giving credit where it's due, why asking for help feels so damn hard sometimes, and how being vulnerable with boundaries is a game changer in relationships. It's real, a little messy, and full of stuff we're still figuring out ourselves. Let's get into it.
Episode 10, take 9. Here we are. How was your day?
Ah, it was good. I'm just getting ready for the trip, to be honest with you. I'm kind of checked out. I'm just like going by the day, counting the days. Like I'm just like ready to go.
Hmm.
But we went to Orlando this past weekend. Um, and I decided to listen to our podcast.
No.
So
Okay.
I listened to last week's episode. It's amazing. I know I'm just like however it's sounding, but I really, really liked it. And I thought the conversation was like so smooth. I like the transitions between like, wait, what are we talking about? Like I was moving from one topic to another, but it was so smooth that we were touching on. So I was like to me as a listener, I was like, this would be a podcast that I would be interested in listening to. So anyway, I just thought that was amazing because I haven't listened to like any of our episodes, so it was good.
That's good. Good. I had like it's funny because I listened to the first like two or three and had the same reaction like when we were first clipping them and I was like, "Oh my God, this is so good. We're actually interesting." And then I haven't listened to any since. So it's funny that we're flipping roles or whatever. But I had a similar experience now, like going back in and like finally editing the clips for social and for YouTube or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, these are really good clips. Like today I was on the Survivor clips where we were talking about like being the villain and embracing that. And also like Mo and the our many reviews of it. And so anyway, I think we're doing good. I think we're doing good.
I think so too. I know I messaged you, but I don't think I told you which clip. I wanted to thank you because as I was like going through the clips last week and I saw the one about you pointing out how the way I speak English, like it's not flawed, like it's just I really like when you said like it sounds like a Arab and like it's kind of endearing and I just it gave me like a whole different perspective and it just like changed my whole view about how I perceive myself when talking. So yeah, I thought that was great. The other thing too, I noticed when I listened to the podcast, I was like, I speak really fast where I eat a lot of the words, and you speak extremely like slow. So like when you're trying to explain something, it sounds more clear. And for me, I was like, it makes sense in my head. So I am consciously now trying to speak slower so that I can articulate it the way I want to, because my mouth moves faster than my brain sometimes.
I think that's a problem for actually a lot of people, regardless of country of origin and mother tongue. We do that a lot, and then we try to fill the silence. I think that one of the hardest things for me is hearing myself go, and I'm really glad for AI, like auto clipping those things out. But I also just want to get better at speaking, and all it takes is just pausing and thinking about what you want to say, slowing down, and being confident in what you have to bring to the table. So I think everyone can learn from what you just said.
Yep, no, I love that. So, how's your day?
Alhamdulillah, it's good. Did a lot of work. I got a pedicure. I feel good about life. I've been listening to the Let Them Theory book by Mel Robbins. So I
Mm-hmm.
got to listen to a bunch of that today on my way to the nail place. And that's it. I feel good. I know we wanted to talk about the Let Them Theory today. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
Dive in. That's something we left off last episode. Actually, my husband and I were listening to it, and he's like, "I love that that was a teaser for next week's episode." Because he's like, "Now I want to know what you guys are going to talk about with the let them theory." So, I actually thought that was pretty cool to have. So maybe we can do a little bit more of that, but we'll see. Because sometimes we just like don't plan it; it just like happens. But here we are. So let's dive in.
Yes. Let them. Okay, so Mel Robbins, motivational speaker, and woman. I don't really know how else to describe her, but she created a video that was called "Let Them." Like he's mad at you or uh, not doing things the way you want them to do it, or not going according, like things are not going according to your way. You just have to kind of let it or let them, and that's a very empowering approach because it's basically you can't control everything. And so the second part of let them that's in the book is let them and let me. So it's like focus on your own actions, and let's say for the purposes of like relationships, not like one-offs in the street or anything, but like family members or don't romantic partners, part of the let me includes like let them show you who they are and how they would behave without you pushing the buttons and the controls. Let them be themselves, and then you react and you distance yourself or you get closer as you see necessary. But it's just important to let them and then let me, as opposed to trying to control everybody. And I think in the instances I was thinking about it, it's like loving difficult people or like being in a lot of difficult relationships, whether it's romantic, again, family or friend. And it's like you can't control people. In summary, in long ass summary, that's how I would put it.
I remembered that video because when I saw that video too, it was at a point in my life where we were just about to start the podcast, just about to start my financial page, and I was overthinking a lot. And one of the things that she highlighted was you have to be yourself. You have to say what you need to say, and you just let them come to whatever conclusion they're gonna get. You have no control over that. But if you spend your time on trying to please everyone and make sure that, they're not liking what you have to put out there, or everybody's gonna have their opinion on like different topics. So I really like the whole just let them and just put it out there. Like stop being scared because this is who you are genuinely. Before we keep moving forward, I did get some more information on that and I want to highlight it because if there's a listener listening to this might have a comment on it. So it turned out that actually let them is not her. She didn't come up with that. She read a poem by someone called Casey Philip or something. And when she read that poem, she really liked the idea. And then she posted a video about it saying, this is, I just read this poem about the let them. I really love that idea and da 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 da. And this is where she got the inspiration of all of that. And she wrote her book. And then she went and bought the, uh, what do you call it, like a patent or whatever it's called to the let them. And then it turned into a thing where like people are like, either on her side or not on her side by saying like, well, it's not really your idea, but you just went and bought it, so now it is yours because she just locked it in. Uh, and yeah, so there's different thoughts on that. I mean, it wasn't like someone wrote a book; it was a poem about let them, but literally she liked that concept, and that's where
Well,
she
no,
moved
that's a
on with.
well, that's a big deal because in the book, she talks about how she came up with it, and she does not at all min marra mention a poem. She actually gives you that initial story and says her son was going to prom and she was trying to control a bunch of the like aspects around him and his friends, where they eat, his girl wearing a corsage or not wearing a corsage. And her daughter kept going, like, let him be, like, let him be. And then towards like the end, it was like raining and all of the people were in their prom stuff and they were gonna go get tacos or something. And the mom was like, how are they gonna go fit, like Mel herself? She was like, how are they gonna fit in this like small ass taco place? And they don't even have a reservation. Oh, I'm gonna make them reservation. They can't do it this way. And the daughter was like, they're happy. Let them. And she said, and then that changed everything. And she got online, she made that video, like because of that day. And then it went viral and was shared by millions and millions of people. Then she did a podcast on it. And then the podcast got like one of the most plays of the year. And so then she wrote the book about it. nowhere in this origin story does she mention a poem.
The video that I watched was a deleted video of her that she posted on her social media saying that I just read a poem today called Let Them, and this idea is so great, blah, blah, blah. And then from there, she started to move on with the Let Them. Yeah. So now you're like, I didn't want to ruin it for you because like you're so into it. The idea is still great. Everything is great about it. But I know this changes a little bit. Actually, I want to find this Let Them
No,
poem.
I love what you just said. First of all, I love what you just said because this is like as I guess as old as American Pie. I don't know. I don't know if that's a phrase, but
It is.
I'm not shocked. You're just what?
I'm curious about her ethnicity. Casey Phillips.
Yeah, me too. I am because I know that Mel Robbins, based on her book, the other things she says in there is like her and her mom and dad, like she grew up in a small town in Kansas or something like that, and she's from the Midwest or whatever. That doesn't mean her origin, but that's just where she grew up. But the other thing is the I was talking to my friend, right? Like just on the note of Mel Robbins, like I'm not really crushed because this is of course going to be like Gaza, sorry, Gaza Palestine talk. Um, I was like, when my friend was mentioning this book and how much he loved it, I was like, well, she kind of rubs me the wrong way. And he was like, why? And I was like, I don't know, just all these like be good, be the best person you can be gurus, like don't say shit about genocide. And like it kind of just turns me off to them. And he was like, yeah, but what did you think about her work before that? And I was like, I don't know, I read her 5 Second Rule book. It didn't really change my life, but like I get the hype, and he was like, but you kind of just sound like it's personal. And I started laughing. I'm like, yeah, it's personal. I don't like that she didn't speak up for Palestine. That doesn't reflect good character when you're in the space of saying like this is how to be the like speak your truth and be the best person or whatever, but also realizing no, she's all about self-improvement, and maybe her idea of self-improvement isn't be your best self, it's let people be mad at you for how you want to move, and you just got to move, right? Hence
Let
let them.
Them. Do you want me to read that poem? Because I just found it.
To read that poem, she stole it. We need to give light to that poem.
It actually, I was reading a couple sentences as we were speaking, and I'm like, this is exactly the whole point of what she was saying, that she preaches, at least. But the poem says, just let them. If they want to choose something or someone over you, let them. If they want to go weeks without talking to you, let them. If they are okay with never seeing you, let them. If they are okay with always putting themselves first, let them. If they are showing you who they are and not what you perceive them to be, let them. If they want to follow the crowd, let them. If they want to judge or misunderstand you, let them. If they act like they can live without you, let them. If they want to talk out of your life and leave, hold the door open and let them. Let them lose you. You were never theirs because you were always your own, so let them.
I mean, oh my God, that was so good. That's the whole book in like a few lines. What are your thoughts?
I have never read the poem. I just thought it was like maybe a sentence in a poem. This seems like someone took the whole concept of something and created something out of it. And it's great if you did, but the fact that you didn't even mention that it was an inspiration of something, or I mean, she did in that video, but like now she doesn't acknowledge it because I was even reading online about it and they said that, where was it? The comment of an individual. Oh, here. They said C. Phillips has accused Mel Robbins of appropriating her work without acknowledgments. Phillips asserts that her poem, which gained viral attention in 2022, served as the foundation for Robbins' "let them" theory. Robbins, however, denies these allegations, stating that she was unaware of Phillips' poem and developed her theory independently. This dispute has ignited discussions about intellectual property rights and the ethical responsibilities of public figures in crediting original creators. It's so confusing because I literally just saw that video who like they were pointing out her original video saying that she just read that poem, Let Them, and so how is that not enough proof? Like how could like couldn't Cassie just sue her? Like I'm like confused because if there is obviously this evidence proof video that people are, sharing, then she did steal it. Like it's so obvious, but now she's denying it now. So I don't know.
You know what's interesting is she said in the book, she said something about like everybody borrows from everybody. And she said, I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before. She like makes a point of saying that and says like I'm just saying it in different ways, just like all theories and all stuff is things that like we get from the person before us and we iterate on it. And that's a valid point, like and the point you just made, right? But like how hard would it be to say I read a book from Mel Robbins and then it made me think about XYZ and now I'm doing XYZ, right? Like
Yeah,
credit is not that hard. I guess it's because she didn't want to share them royalties. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know much about this other than what you told me, so I'm gonna just act like what you just said is fact. Based on that, I think she doesn't want to share royalties.
yeah. I mean, it could be. It is a little confusing because remember when I was like starting my page and we talked about that and I said a lot of my ideas I didn't just dawn on me out of nowhere. I learned it from so many different people. There's people that, I get inspiration from. It's like, where do you draw that line? Do you have to keep giving credit or like how do you maneuver that? Um, because, yeah, I mean, as humans, we're all learning from something somewhere. We might add our own touch to something, but it's just ongoing work. Like I'm not the one who's created like how do you invest your Roth IRA or 1K, like everybody does that. There's a lot of methods that people like out there. So yeah, I don't know where you draw that line because I am confused myself. Like, do you just keep like living your life saying, but like you go to college and you learn a lot of different things through school. You don't go back to work and say every day, like, this is what I learned from this book by this writer, and then da, da, da. So you just like this is what you're doing. Like you just do it, you
Yeah,
know?
but that's because you're going through your that's just because you're going through your workday. I don't need to be like, oh yeah, every like logic model I use at work is XYZ. Every time I use it, like, no, I'm just using what I learned. But if you're gonna go patent an idea and make millions of dollars or however much she's
That's true.
making, that's a different question of ethics here.
We would have been okay if she has given um I mean, do we think it's wrong that she went and bought the patent for Let Them if that's what she's building her? I mean, Cassie could have done it too, but she didn't.
Don't think it's I genuinely don't think it's I'm with you, right? Like, well, based on what I just heard you say, but like I think great that I was inspired, like she right, let them, you know what, let them expands because basically that poem sounds like it's just about a relationship. I would like get romantic out of it, but it could be anything. But like at the end of the day, what's her name, Mel, took that concept and built it out, talked to researchers and connected it with other frameworks and like added her, like she, like you said, she made it her own.
Mhm.
Just but like if you didn't do anything wrong and you did love what's her name's poem, Miss Phillips' poem, then why not say you loved it? Why not say you saw that it was good and that there was a world that was untapped that you wanted to explore based on letting people be themselves or reveal themselves?
Hmm. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. Why can't you come out into the
I
light?
think there's a place for both. For me, I still don't think that what Mel did is wrong. I think the part that is wrong is just not giving credit because I have I don't know what you call it, like an idol or whatnot. Ramit Sethi is someone that I follow, and I really like everything about personal finance that he does, and he's been doing it for 20 years. And there's other people out there that people follow as well. A lot of my work is inspired by his work. I will have my own touch, but to come and just say that I created this out of nowhere. I mean, he probably didn't create it out of nowhere either. It's like you learn it from someone too, or from experiences. So we're all are doing same thing. Yeah, I guess just giving credit. I think that would make sense.
Like even Tony Robbins, right? Like he's a big deal, super famous, and in his books he talks about like unleashing the power, whatever, what all his books, he's a big freaking deal. He talks about, is it Jim Rohn? I don't know the guy, his predecessor and who he learned from. Like he does say I learned from him.
Hmm.
I think either that or I found out he learned from him and didn't credit him. I really can't remember anymore now because it's been so long since I was on the Tony Robbins wave. Whatever. At the end of the day, I do think this let them shit is a word. Whoever first said the word, it's a word.
That's true. That's true. I mean, even I remember like Bassem Youssef, he always talked about how like Jon Stewart was his biggest comedic idol, and like he always like used to watch him from Egypt and be like, "Oh my God, like they can just talk freely like that." Like that was like his biggest thing where like I want to go and do this in the US. But it's kind of nice. I guess it makes you human when you do that. And I think that's the thing with Mel Robbins that she's missing that part over there. Maybe that's why you're not relating to her or like I'm not relating in areas because it could maybe feel that is like I know something that you don't know and let me teach you. I think if she would have just owned that, maybe it would have been a little bit more relatable in that sense of yeah, we're all just humans learning from each other. Like I'm not just the all-knowing person and like that's it.
Yeah, or presenting it like Christopher fucking Columbus. Like you didn't discover America. Like it was here. Just say that. Just say that you happened upon this idea and you loved it. And now you know, want to take it over. Anyway, don't get me started on on colonization today. Let's just steer clear.
So you wanted to start talking about the let them, and then now we went into the ethics of let them and like how Mel Robbins got to it. But is there anything else that you wanted to point out? Like, how are you going with that?
Actually, I have a story that covers both that this made me think of. So years back, this was like right around COVID time, right? And I was full blown just acting, saying, let me figure out how to make all my money, side hustles, everything from acting. And I had been the only person that in my level, like that had booked television shows and stuff like that. So a lot of people would come to me all the time asking me questions about the same questions you ask me, like how does the pay work? How does the audition work? How do you get agents? How do you blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, all right, let me start just teaching classes about this online. And so I started like putting up videos like, oh, here's what I know. Let me share the information. And then one day I put up a flyer of like, okay, if you want to join a webinar, I'll be going over like one-on-one stuff. Might have priced it at like $10 a person. And then I got a message from this like actor that I know. And we had worked together over the years on like different little indie projects here and there. And he goes to me, I can't believe you're doing this. I was the first person to try and teach classes, and now you're stealing from me. Some crazy accusation because I was going to use what I learned from my own lived experience and teach it and, you know, have the audacity to make a dollar while doing it. And he said that because he thought of teaching the business side of acting first, that like ripped the idea from him, which is ludicrous for quite a few reasons. One being the most obvious is that there have been and will be many other teachers teaching not only acting, but the business of acting. I literally have a book called The Business of Acting that I purchased from some other teacher who teaches the business of acting, right? Casting directors write the business of acting and auditioning and all of that. So I was just kind of like, where do you get off like coming at me, my character, my business, my livelihood? Like it was like this big thing. And it hurt my feelings too, you know, because I'm sensitive. And I think after like he came at my neck, I was like, you know what? I don't know what this ego situation is about. Like, I know I didn't steal. Like, it's not like he had a business plan and a frame of like a let them theory that I then stole. Like, no, I was just, anyway, we hadn't really talked ever really since then. And I was, in the end, I was like, yeah, let him. He feels this way. He's mad about it. Just let him. What am I not? And somebody said something really interesting to me at that time, which was, him reaching out to you over like an Instagram flyer shows that he feels a little threatened by you in the space. And that's all that means.
That's what I wanted to say because who cares? That's your style. You know how many other people are teaching personal finance right now, and I'm still doing it, and I'm just doing my style. Do I just sit here and be like, and there people have like millions of followers. Like I could be sitting here like, who's gonna follow me? There's already millions out there. But each one of those pages has like 1 million or 2 million followers. There's 300 million US people living in this country.
Mhm.
There's obviously, so add up all those personal finance pages, there's like maybe what, 10 million in total of followers for all those pages collectively. What about all the other 215? You know what I mean? So there's a place for everyone for everything, but I do agree. I think that person was just threatened. Like it's kind of ridiculous that someone else, it's like I want to be a teacher, English in school or in college. It's like, oh, you want to be teacher? Well, I was gonna be a teacher. I was like, okay, can we both be teachers? Like, or both be doctors or both be whatever. It's just whatever. Yeah, I let them.
Yeah. I think I was just so surprised because I wasn't used to, I'm not great with confrontation at all. And so for somebody to come at my neck like was really hard for me at first. And then I was like, there's really nothing I could have done differently or like nothing to apologize for. So,
Mhm.
مع السلامة.
Bye.
Bye.
Uh, so another thing I wanted to talk about with you, I saw this video for Simon. You know Simon Sinek. Not sure if I'm butchering his name. You know, he's like very popular in corporate. He teaches a lot about like, corporate and leadership and whatnot. I see him a lot on like LinkedIn and whatnot. I'm sure if you see his face, you would know who I'm talking about. But it was him and Trevor Noah, and he's talking about trust and like how trust is built by asking for help. Um, and like the example that he was saying in that video is how his buddy was like going through something really hard, and then he called him after he's passed that hard phase, like the hardship phase, and he was telling him, yeah, it's been like a long month and da 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 da, and he's like, and then Simon was like, why did you not call me? And he's like, I just didn't want to bother you and da da da. Da." And then he said like how dare you take that away from me? How dare you take away from me the opportunity to just be there for you? And this is where trust is built. It's not with it's when you actually ask for someone's help is when you start building trust. Um, I know I struggle with asking for help. Um, how do you feel about that? Because I know you and I have been building this recently, and I've been getting more comfortable to just like call you when like I'm going through a rough time, or you calling me through a rough time. But it's always really hard like to draw that line where like, am I being like a burden? Like, am I over like dumping on that person, or am I like actually really trusting and like leaning in for help? Um, but I just thought that was interesting.
No, I think it boils down to vulnerability, right? Like all of us walk around with masks on, with a representative that we show to social media, our coworkers, our family, right? And we show up in these different spaces, a little bit different depending on the relationships in each room. And vulnerability also looks different in each of those spaces. But if I had my bet, the majority of people leave vulnerability out of the room. And so with you, right? Like I've been more vulnerable with you than I think people I've known my whole life, right? Like what even when it comes down to like I'm panicking about this thing that I feel big shame about, right? Like finances and I don't know what to do next. It's like when I feel so scared, like I can call you. So I think yeah, that is how we built trust because not only just did you pick up the phone, but then receive me then also console me, then also turn around and be like, okay, well, here's how we grow from here. And like doing any one of those things is enough. Let's be clear. Like doing any one of those things is enough. But to be able to do all of those things, yeah, I think that's how we built trust so quickly because I come to you and then I feel better and stronger every time. So, yes, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Repetition creates that pattern. So, I've done it multiple times. It's not a fluke. I know I can trust you.
Thank you for saying that. Uh, I feel the same. I think I have shared with you a lot. Like I know there's like we have shared a lot, like really crossing boundaries that I haven't crossed with anyone, I think, other than my husband in my life. Like you probably know almost just as much as he knows about like very um intimate details and like my deep down soul and core. Yeah, I just love that about our relationship. And I do agree. I think it was only then when I felt the need to, like, I need to call you, I'm freaking out about something, or you feel the need to call me freaking out about something, that we noticed that we're starting to build the trust. But I do think as well, we're both very self-aware that I trust as well that you're not using me. I am assuming you trust as well that I am not using you, because even though we do reach out to each other, because I do have that with other people, but sometimes I have to like hold back sometimes because I just don't know how far would that go with people. And by that I mean, like, am I gonna turn into their therapist? Like, period. Like, they're gonna call me and drag me in, because I've been there with other people in my life. Um, but with you, I think we both are seeing like our therapist. We're both are like just going through it with life. So we know this is not our only, like our only go-to solution, but we still trust to like go to each other. And I just love that. I think this is really beautiful and something I've never had in my life.
Agree with that fully. And I think like we did this the other day, right? Where I called you and I was like, we already dedicated 3 hours onto this like last week. So like, you know what? Let me use your time wisely. And even when I feel nervous about it, right? Like I think that's the other beautiful thing about our relationship is we trust that the other person is going to be honest. So like I'll be like, hey, if I am pushing the boundary, if I am pushing the limit, like let me know, and I trust that you'll be like, not today, or that's enough, or you're in a pattern kind of thing. And I had a friend, actually, one of my best friends in life. She once had to actually sit me down, like it was like my ex, and I was in a really like emotionally abusive relationship with him, and I kept just being that friend that would vent about the same behavior, the same thing over and over again. And you know the definition of insanity, right? Trying the same solution over and over and over again to the problem, thinking it's going to change. And so I think I was being that burden, and she was self-aware enough and strong enough and trusted our bond enough to say, I want to hear about your life, I want to hear about everything else, I no longer want to hear about this problem because this is a solvable problem. And she put
Mm,
her foot down, and that was the first step of me walking away from him. Like when your friends have to tell you, this problem's not changing. I've given it all I can to be there for you in this. That's enough. I know my friend loves me. Like somebody might listen to this and be like, that's a bad friend. No, the fuck she's not. Because I needed to walk away from that relationship. And you need your friends and family to be honest with you. So I think I have that with you where you'll be like, Amel, like this isn't gonna change, you know?
I didn't, as you were telling me that story, I didn't think your friend is a bad friend. I was impressed that you had, I mean, knowing you now, I know how you are. So I guess now I'm not as impressed anymore because of that. But anyway, I guess when you were painting that picture for me in the story that you were in an abuse relationship, you were just like that person was like, that's a different person that I know now. So I was just impressed in the moment that you're telling me the story, that you were able to recognize that my friend is not against me. Because a lot of time when people are stuck in that cycle of abuse and just can't see outside of that picture, it's easier to just blame the other person of like, why are you not being there for me? Because you just can't see it. Your friend saw it, but usually it's easier to just go there. But the fact that you just went there, wow.
Well, I think also that's exactly what I'm talking about with repeated patterns. Like when I come to you on a repeated basis, it's clear that I'm safe here. You
Hmm.
are protecting me. You love me. And so that I had been friends with that girl for at least 12 years at that point. I know this friendship. It has seen its ups and its downs, and I trust her. So I know damn well when I have something real and solvable, and you know it's she gonna sit there with me till the end, and we're still friends till today. I get free therapy from her all the time because she's a therapist. I kind of want to like shout out her business at this point, but like I met her in college, and so imagine having someone by your side who genuinely cares about you, since college who has real tools for how to look at your emotion and how to grow up, how to establish boundaries. And that person uses those tools and teaches you those tools. I don't know who I would be without the influence of some of my friends.
Mm, I think you should shout out her business.
Therapy for the culture. I will put the link wherever we can put the link. It's her practice, and she now just became like an official doctor, PhD, and she's out. She literally like has saved my life many times. So yes, that trust is built, and that friend Jasmine like earned that trust.
First-hand experience, 5-star review, tested and tried. So what more do you want? If you're looking for a therapist, I guess look no more.
Phenomenal. That was the best commercial. Anyway, I have to call her up just be like, do I have to cut all of that? Because otherwise, we're gonna cut
Yeah,
this and
or
post it.
take a clip of it and be like, "Do you want to sponsor our podcast?" Because Noel just put a whole spiel. Like I can use it for other podcasts too. Just kidding. But no, that is actually really good because this is how you. I was just talking to my cousin this morning, and she does a lot of like the hair. She's a hairdresser, so she does a lot of like hair business and whatnot. One of the things we were talking about, she was like, "I'm looking for someone to help me with my taxes." But she wants someone like down the road that can help and move on with like the accounting. And like I kept talking for hours about the like our like my friend who does our taxes too, because I can't speak like highly enough about him and his business. And she's like, are you like trying to sell me to like it's just like you just the way you're like talking about it, I was like, honestly, it's just I tested him. Like I'm just speaking of experience and I really, really trust him. So I know the feeling. Like when
Wait,
you
do I have
actually
his
have
number
that relation.
already? Do I have his information? Because I need to do my all my taxes, and I don't want to do them anymore. Like I just really just want to be like somebody else take this.
Yeah, I can give it to you offline.
You want to shout him out here or no?
Talk to him first, just in case.
We'll circle back. We'll circle back.
Yep, yep. Because I know he's like extremely busy too, to be honest with you. Like extremely busy. So, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I'll talk to him, see
For
how he
anybody
feels about it.
listening, do not reach out to us and ask us to plug your stuff unless you want to pay. These are not paid promotions. These are just endorsements of life. All right. Um,
Yes.
we running a business eventually. I did want to say something back about something that you mentioned of like how why would you rob me of the opportunity to be there for you? And I think that we need to kind of spend some time on that. I have, for example, people do that even with their like parents and their siblings. And like you're just so afraid of being a burden. And a lot of us grew up, especially if we had parents who weren't like emotionally regulated or stressed out from like being like 9-time refugeed, they didn't have space for our emotions. And so we were taught that our emotions and our problems are our own to solve, and that is okay. That is not their fault. They had a lot to deal with. I personally in my life forgive that shit. So, but anyway, we become these adults who are like, I can't reach out for help because nobody has time for me. I can't reach out for help because I'll burden that person. It's a very real internal trauma response. And I even have friends who, like, regardless of the refugee story, whatever, like, just like don't want to call someone because they don't want to worry that person. Like, especially if it's a parent figure. Like, I don't want them to worry about me. And so I can't tell them what's in my heart. And I'm like, what do you think your mother wants to do? What do you think your father wants to do? They want to be there for you. They want to save you. Like this is the best thing they know how to do. Even when you were a kid, when you would cry, they would probably hold you. So I guess I just really wanted to reiterate that like people do want to be there for you. And I'm one of those people who have a really hard time letting people be there for me. And that's why it's like a big deal with someone like you, where I'm like, I got vulnerable really fast. It's safe here. And an example of that is something as simple as like I was moving for the 19th time, right? From Jersey City to like in with my sister because life had been just hard. And she was like, come down there and help you move. And I was like, no, 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 it's okay. I'll do it. She's like, you're gonna do it yourself? And I was like, yeah, like I can manage. Like, it's fine. I have like a studio apartment's worth of stuff. And you're this like doctor and like you're busy. And she was like, Ahmed, if I needed to move, you would come down here and help me. why are you not accepting that I want to come up there and help you? And I just didn't have an answer, and it's kind of sad because I just felt like I wasn't worth her time. And this is someone who has mothered me. This is someone who does love me. I know I am safe. And even then, I felt like a burden. Didn't mean to get so deep on that, but I
Bit
do think
deep.
but I do think it says a lot when you do find someone that you can call and say, I'm panicking. It takes a lot of trust to get there, to your
Hmm.
point. A lot.
I think that was the whole point of the video is trust is built when you reach out because you're showing that person that you trust them enough to reach out and ask for help. I know that you can be there for me. I know that you will be there for me.
Mm.
I do wonder though, because as I'm speaking, I have to say that I have set boundaries. Like now I'm thinking in my head, extremely vulnerable right now. I've had people in my life where I have set boundaries with. They know that in specific situations, they can't reach out to me because I have felt that I have been used in those situations in the past. So a part of me, as I'm seeing this right now, is thinking that person really needs me or needed me. And now I've set that boundary, basically shut them down. Is that me breaking that trust that that person was trying to reach out and ask for that help? Or there was no trust anywhere there. It was just used because that person was trying to use me, and I knew that at that moment. I'm just speaking out loud. I don't know the answer.
I have a lot of things to say, but if you want to reflect on a
No,
possible
go
thing.
go for it, because it's just all of them just dawned on me right now.
Well, so one thing I think is setting boundaries is hard in general, right? And so you set a boundary, and a lot of times people have a hard time setting a boundary because they don't know if they'll be accepted after they set that boundary. They don't know if they'll still be loved after they set that boundary or ask that question or push that button. And love is deeper than a fucking boundary, right? So that's A. So if you had told this person, I feel overextended by this problem, similar to my girlfriend letting me know that, like, enough is enough. You can talk to me about anything else in your life, but like, we're not talking about this anymore. She let me know in a way that, like, you're using my time in a way that I don't appreciate. And because of our bond, I knew that she wasn't wrong. So there's a few things. A, are you having a hard time setting a boundary and letting it set? Did that relationship outstand or withstand that boundary? There's a lot of areas that and maybe, yeah, maybe it's an option that you were being a dick, right? But like knowing your heart and being one of those people that has gone to you for hours at like length about issues, I can't imagine that you handled it. So how did the relationship go after that? Like,
Well, first, thank you for sharing that because I think I was lost in my thoughts until you mentioned how you handled it, and that helped me realize that the importance of boundary is you are telling someone this is not okay with me, and you let them decide what they want to do with that boundary. And the people who don't respect that boundary are usually the people who are wanting to cross that boundary. And I think that was my situation because hearing now your story when your friend set that boundary, you did not cross it. You respected it because you cared about that relationship. But that proves me that I was right with setting that boundary and following my gut that that person was just using me. Because once I did set that boundary, we stopped having a relationship. And then at that moment, I was like, interesting. So that tells me that you're only in my life or you're only part of my life because you want to use me in that specific area. Now, that's not how they're perceiving it on their end. That's the other interesting part. Because on their end, they're just seeing it as I reached out for help and you were not there for me. And if you were needing help, I would have been there for you.
but back to Miss
Yeah.
Phillips, right? You gotta let them
them.
think what they want, because it does sound like, and again, from having more information about you and other relationships around you, it's not like it's rare to me. Like, I've heard the same story from anyone I've met around you, that you are a solid person to have in someone's life. Like, yeah, nah, they gotta go. And even with this friend that I'm talking about, like, we did have, like I said, ups and downs, and we had a year where we didn't talk. You find your way back to the people that you're like, you know what? This this relationship was not worth losing. I need that back. And then you go
Mm,
back and you get it. And like, that's what we
mm.
did after about it. And it wasn't because of this issue that I told you about. It was a whole different issue. But we found our way back. And so this person, yeah, probably didn't accept the boundary that you set. And I think that's another, again, important note, is that that's why we're so afraid of setting boundaries, because we don't want to lose the people in our lives. But like you said, the only people who are interested in crossing your boundaries should not be in your life. If they are interested in crossing your boundaries, they should not be in your life. And I think I said that last week, right? For my Pal Perspective email, I started doing like a little blog thing, like where I just like tell people what I'm thinking about that week. And it's been really fun because it's been a writing exercise for me. And that was what last week was about. Like, we just canceled the movie night last week because I was having, as you know, some personal issues, and I just didn't have the energy to host a group of people. And so I wrote my email about that. And I was like, I'm not having a good time, and I'm telling y'all that because I know that our relationship will withstand me letting you down tonight. Like, I know you may have planned to be here, and I know I care about y'all. Like, I care about showing up every week. And so I know you care about me taking time when I need to. And I got like an overwhelming amount of people writing back saying, like, hey, what can I do for you? How can I be there for you? Of course, take your time off, like sending you love. And it's like, yep, I trust that group because we've built a bond over a year now of like, let's show up as ourselves, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and be there for each other. So yeah, I'm sorry that that happened to you. Back to you. I'm really sorry that that happened to you, and I'm really glad you set your boundary. And at the end of the day, it's growing pains, and you're still feeling them. That's what grief is like. It comes in waves, and you don't know when it's going to hit you. And I think you just felt another pang of grief over that relationship.
Thank you. Yeah, I honestly was just, I don't think I was in pain, to be honest. I felt more disappointed, even though the expectation was extremely low because the specific relationship, I've always had that type of relationship with that person. So I always knew the expectation was like as high as it can go. I just felt disappointed, I would say, in that moment. But it is a struggle because for our Middle Eastern culture, I know you mentioned that we say, like, I don't want to share because I don't want to burden the other person. Like, that's what we grew up with our culture. I do have a slightly different experience. I think a big part of my upbringing was we don't share as well because it shouldn't go out of the family.
Oh
So
my
we
God.
have to protect the family, protect the reputation, and even if you're struggling, even if the hurt is coming within the family, don't share because you still need to protect someone in the family who's maybe causing that hurt. And you see it all the time with like maybe women getting raped by or men getting raped by I don't know, an uncle or whatever, and like, oh, I'm gonna protect the family or that person or whoever, and like um I'm not going to share it. But I do think that plays a part as well, where sometimes we like to protect our abuser, because we're taught a lot about guilt that it must be us or it's on us to just still make sure that the whole image is perfect.
100%. Yes, really important to bring up. And I think this goes back to like a few episodes ago, the one titled Our Culture Needs Therapy, or Our People Need Therapy. Is because, like, even when it comes down to addressing colorism in our culture, or, anti-gay mindset in our culture, we're afraid to talk about it and solve it because there's so many people already talking smack about our people that we can't make it worse. And therefore, we are
Mhm.
protecting the abusers within our culture. So it goes outward into a macro level. But like you said, on the most harmful level, you protect your first-hand abuser in the home because you cannot shame the family. I feel
Yep.
like that whole subject of shame deserves like definitely its own episode on like the lengths we go to not shame. And it's not even our family, but it's the perception of our family. So we like it's anti let them because it's like, no, 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 what will people think? We have to make sure people think good of us. And it's like, fuck those people. Sorry, culture.
No, I do like that, and I think this is a good segue to something we can start next week's episode with. Um, what do you say, piggy bank king? I don't know what that
Piggyback.
term is. Piggybacking, not piggy bank,
We can make piggy bank a thing.
piggy bank. Um, Piggybacking off of what we just said is how even women are specifically shamed, or you must have been dressing a certain way and that's why this and that happened to you or whatnot. And I know it's in our culture and it's in any culture. I see it a lot and even in Western culture too. So I know we're almost on time. I This is a huge topic that we can just dive into. But what I would like to leave off this episode with, I did watch a video about a coach who's a relationship coach. Who's going to like youth kids and just having those conversations with them about if you allow your girlfriend, let's say, to go out with like male friends, and can they have, guy male friends or not? Just a little teaser for next week's episode, but that's what that conversation is gonna start about, and then we'll take it from there.
Sounds great. It sounds like you are testing my whole relationship. That would be great. Yeah, Larry, let's do it. Oh, and the other thing I want to tease really quickly is that we have planned for season 2 to have a bunch of guests, whenever we
Mhm.
decide that is. And I do think my sister would be a really great guest for the shame. She probably vet for
Ooh, I
days.
would love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll talk offline. But okay, cool. Yes, these are great. I'm so excited for next week. Let's do this.
Okay, we'll starting next week by that. I'll finish telling the story about that video. Maybe we'll put even the clip of that video at somewhere so people can see. But yeah, otherwise, that was a good conversation. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk again next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this conversation, please consider leaving a comment and a review. It helps us improve and reach more people.
We're all just trying to figure it out one conversation at a time. So go easy on yourself, trust the process, and remember, it's okay, Habibi.